is drawing a lot of attention. Africa, where France used to have a large number of colonies and still has a lot of influence, is keeping a close eye on elections there. Both Macron and Le Pen stress ties with African countries are very important to both. However, they still have radically different views on how to maintain those ties. RT's Alexei Yaroshevsky reports.
Charles de Gaulle, 1944, self-government or restoration of African independence must be rejected even in the more distant future. François Mitterrand, Paris, 1998, without Africa, France will have no history in the 21st century. And finally, Jacques Chirac, Paris, 2008, without Africa, France will slide down into the rank of a third world power. These three quotes from the French presidents would give you the idea how important Africa has been for France. But how do views of the two current presidential frontrunners differ when it comes to Africa? The continent has a lot of former French colonies where Paris' influence is massive, as well as business deals. Both Macron and Le Pen made trips to Africa during their campaign. The former went to Algeria, the latter to Chad. Macron's statement made in Algeria caused some uproar back home when he said that the French colonization of Africa was crime against humanity and that his country should apologize for it. He later walked back his statement and reverted to a more of the same kind of approach to former colonies later in the campaign. Le Pen, on her part, blasted her rivals' words, in turn calling them crime against France. But at the same time, the Front National leader came out with a far more coherent and radically different strategy for France on the African vector, being vocally opposed to the concept of France-Afrique, a term that refers to the continuing interdependence between France and its former African colonies. In a nutshell, she advanced the policy of non-interference in African affairs while maintaining mutually beneficial trade and military ties. That sparked mixed responses across the continent, with a number of African leaders openly supporting Macron, with the fear of losing the French financial support. But one place on the continent where people took Le Pen's words with a certain degree of hope is South Cameroon. We reported several months ago on the violent unrest in that part of the land, populated by the English-speaking Cameroonians, who accused the Francophone central government of oppression and human rights violations, revolted, and got on the receiving end of some brutal clampdown. 6 people have been reportedly killed in protests, and only 2 weeks ago, South Cameroon's internet access was restored after 3 months of online blockade by Paul Biya's government. The people of South Cameroon that I spoke with told me that it's way past negotiation stage at this time, and they demanded independence as the region was independent prior to 1960s. It may seem like an ethnic conflict, but the Bakassi Peninsula, which belongs to South Cameroon, has, as some experts believe, a vast amount of oil. Easy to imagine that calls for independence by those in South Cameroon could harm France's oil interests in the region. But the biggest question right now is whether Emmanuel, more of the same Macron, or marine radical change Le Pen would allow that to happen.